Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel for a brand new video which I'm sure many of you all may appreciate. So I've been away for a while, as you all have noticed. I'm trying to get better with making videos, and I'm actually going to start answering all of you guys' questions from my Instagram. I know, I have not been doing the greatest job at keeping up with this, but I am trying to get better this year, answering a lot of the questions that you all have sent me in email and messages, comments on my Instagram, and I'm going to start a new series, hopefully one that I keep going for quite some time, where I'm going to be finally showing my editing process. Now, I actually don't know why many of you guys want to see my editing process. It's really nothing that extravagant, but regardless of it, you guys requested it, I'm gonna start doing it. Simple as that. So this one should be a very fun video for you guys. It's on my street photography work. Yay, yay, yay. I know you guys want to see that. So many people have really liked my new series from Chicago. So I'm actually going to edit one of my newest pictures from Chicago that I took. And this is the set that we're going to be doing. So I generally do HDR for my work, and that's what we're going to be doing today. So these are my three images that we'll be working with. This is a -2. These were all bracketed in the camera. So this is a -2, this is 0, and then +2. So my editing process actually doesn't start here. We're going to go on over to Photomatix Pro, which I use for doing my merging process. For any of you guys that may be interested in this program, there's a discount code on my website at professorhines.com/choice, where you can obtain, I think it's 15% off this program. So it's definitely a favorite program of mine, and all of my HDRs I use in this program. So right now I'm loading in my images, my bracketed images. And now I get this merging to HDR dialog box. So I just choose how I took the image, with aligning my source images. Since this was handheld, I have the handheld option selected. Have removing go selected, which will come up in another dialog, and I'll talk more about that. Remove noise. Yes, we want to always do that. Reduce chromatic aberrations. That's kind of like where you have that purple or greenish type color fringing in your images. I'm not really picky about that, so I actually leave that off, because if you check it, it just takes longer for the actual rendering of your image. So that's the only reason I leave it off. Plus, I'm not really nitpicky about my photos. So the next thing is white balance. This is very key for my pictures because of the presets that I've designed in Lightroom. It's usually consistent with how the white balance was that I had selected here in Photomatix. So if I change something and I'm not consistent with it, then my presets won't work the way that it was when I was editing the image in Lightroom. So I'm very consistent with this, and cloudy is usually my go-to white balance between this or daylight. Sometimes I'll use ash shot depending on what the image is. So we're just going to click on that, and it's going to go through with converting those raw files, and then we're going to get a dialog box for our deghosting. And so this tool is going to be used for accounting for movement that may have happened throughout those 3 frames, and we can fix it in that particular dialog box before we actually get to our final editing part here in Photomatix. So once that has done, we come up with this options dialog box, where you have 2 options. You can do selective or you can do automatic. With selective, like here with this car, you kind of see it had some movement throughout the frames. So if I have selective, that's kind of a bad job of doing that. You can, select where you want the deghosting to actually fix, and you see how it adjusts it for that car. And so that way we have that car properly in our image. Now, I usually like to go for automatic because I don't like doing that all over the image. So I do automatic, and then I choose an image to prioritize, which is usually the neutral image. And so all I do is choose how strong I want this to be, and I usually go about 80 to 85, somewhere around in there. And it accounts for everything only in this image that I want to correct out of the other two images and prioritizes this image. So once I have that, I click OK. It goes through putting all of that together for our final merge, so that way we can do some of the final touches. Here I get this tone mapping adjustment window. Now I have everything set, and I actually never change any of these settings. I have them set to what I like. They do many different things, but I'm not going to bore you guys with showing that, as I'm not exactly sure what you guys really want to see. So this is just a quick video showing editing. I'm sure you guys are going to post questions, so that way I can, better answer your questions in future videos. So all I'm going to do here is change light adjustments. So I usually switch between natural and natural plus. If those don't work, then I usually turn it off. But for this one, I'm going to keep it on natural and then just hit apply. So this process goes very quickly with finalizing everything. And then it pops up with a final dialog box for finishing touches. All I'm doing here is adding medium sharpening. And so in my editing process, you're going to see that I do a lot of sharpening. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but I do it. Just my personal preference. So I'm going to save my image as a 16-bit TIFF, which is a very large file. It's going to be about 140 megabytes. So it's good to have a lot of space on your computer if you're doing this. So we're going to locate our image and then import into Lightroom. Now, I generally just like going to my folder, since I already have it open, and just dragging it over so it's automatically there versus searching in Lightroom. So we're going to import it and select our image and go to our Develop tab. So I'm going to put it in a before and after view so that way you can see what we're doing here. So if you look to the left, these are all the presets that I have in Lightroom, which is over 1,800. And the funny thing is that I do know what all of these presets do. So I'm going to come down to my newest preset collection, which is from Chicago. And for this one, I'm going to use the Elevated Cloudy Tracks because this has the look that I love, that many of my new Chicago images utilize. And I just think it's a very cool look to the images, personally. So I really love this look a lot. So there's really nothing that I'm going to do here. Sometimes I get, with my presets, there may be a little bit more darkening than what I would like in certain areas. So all I'm going to do is come up here to my adjustment brush, or on my PC, just hit K to bring up my adjustment brush, and kind of just brush in some of the areas that I may want to brighten up a little bit. That may have been a little bit dark for this preset, but don't want to overpower it too much. Just add a little bit here and there. Okay, so we got that. And that's actually pretty much it. With my presets, they're how I really want them. It's just a matter of tweaking a little bit if I have to, and it's pretty much it. So I'm going to export. I'm going to export as a TIFF again here. No compression, 16-bit. And we're exporting that. And then we're going to go into our last program, which is Corel Paintshop Pro. And this is actually an older version. They're on X8 now, but for what I need, I don't really need the newer version of this program. So we're just going to drag and drop again, drag and drop our image over. I'm going to go up here to the top where it says Adjustment, go into Brightness and Contrast, and then Fill Light and Clarity. So many wonder how I get that unique look to my photos, and generally this is where that comes from. Not all the time, especially when it comes to fashion images, as I may not use this program at all when it comes to fashion images. But for the most part, this is where this look comes from for my photos. So I only go about 63%, and usually my default settings that I had with my previous edits generally always work, and I'm okay with that. And so just click OK, go back to Adjustment, Brightness and Contrast, and this time we're going to adjust our curves. So I just like to add a little bit. It's on 4 right now, 4%. I just like to add a little bit, which adds a little bit more punch to those darker areas. So, and then we're going to go back again, brightness and contrast, and then levels. Not all the time will I use levels, but I just like, I don't know, I'm just very, picky when it comes to darker tones or darker levels in my images. And so that's how I kind of do a lot of this darkening in my images. So the final thing is to come down here, back to adjust, sharpness, and then sharpen. And we're done. That's it. We got a nice looking image here that I'm very pleased with. And it's just a matter of saving our image now. We're going to go up here to save as, save our image as a JPEG this time, since this is final step. And that's it. So we went from, show our image here that we started with. We went from our neutral image, which is this image here. That was our neutral. And then now we have our final image, which is this one. So pretty different of how that works. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If there are any questions that you have or things that you want to see in future videos, be sure to let me know. I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to ask me about this on Instagram. Remember that I also have workshops and classes that I do on Lightroom, HDR, many other genres that I do as well. You can check those out at professorhines.com/classes, and also see when I'm in different cities holding different events, such as my Insta meetups or workshops that you can sign up for. Photo walks are always free. Workshops, depending on what's being taught, those are paid. So be sure you also connect with me on my other social media platforms, such as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. Everything is the same URL handle of @ProfessorHines, so it's really easy to find me. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and look for new stuff to come, hopefully on a consecutive basis. So until next time, I'll see you guys later.